Howdy. Today's distance learning, thanks to COVID, is going to be about the Kennedy assassination. I think it's worth looking at because your textbook, I think, leaves it so cut and dry. There's one paragraph that says, quote, soon after Senate ratified the last chess ban treaty, John F. Kennedy's presidency was ended in a shocking and tragically. On November 22nd, 1963, Kennedy and his wife traveled to Texas. As a presidential motorcade rode slowly through the crowded streets of Dallas, gunfire rang out. Somebody had shot the president twice. Government officials sped Kennedy to a nearby hospital, where he was pronounced dead moments later. Lee Harvey Oswald, the man accused of Kennedy, appeared to be confused and embittered Marxist who had spent time in the Soviet Union. He himself was shot to death while in police custody 2 days after the Kennedy assassination. The bizarre situation led some to speculate that the second gunman, local nightclub owner Jack Ruby, killed Oswald to protect others involved in the crime. And it ends up saying, theories about a conspiracy to kill the president have persisted, though none has gained wide acceptance. So let's take a look at that concept that theories have persisted, and let's see what happened and why. And the second part, you're going to be doing some research so you can decide for yourselves. All right, let's start out with John F. Kennedy, Cuba. Of course, there's John F. Kennedy and the Cuban Missile Crisis, which you guys did on Friday, but there were some other connections. The mafia was very connected with Cuba because they had casinos in Havana. And after the Bay of Pigs, plus the fact that John F. Kennedy's brother Bobby Kennedy, as Attorney General, went after a lot of the mafia, leads some people to think that Cuba, and possibly the mafia, is connected with the assassination. But we don't know, nor will we ever know. But you need to know that's the background they talk about. The basics. John F. Kennedy, 1962, had the Bay of Pigs. Cuban Missile Crisis. 1963, he starts looking at the election in 1964. And, he decides he's going to need to start getting that groundwork. And one of the things he's really worried about is the South. Think about all the stuff we talked about in the Civil Rights Unit. John F. Kennedy's getting involved with a lot of stuff, and his brother Robert Kennedy getting involved with Martin Luther King, the Freedom Riders, and all that stuff. So Kennedy realizes the election, he's going to need to do some work on the South. So why not go to Texas? After all, his vice president, Lyndon Baines Johnson, LBJ, is from Texas, so it's got to be a safe stop for a politician. And just to be sure, if you look at the picture here, John F. Kennedy brings his young wife, Jackie. Jackie was a very popular first lady, and, John F. Kennedy realized that, and so he's going to bring her with him, and that'll help make this a good political stop for him. It's really just a fly into Texas, do this thing, and head back to Washington thing. In Texas, John F. Kennedy is going to ride in a car. He's going to go downtown, make some speeches, and then come back so that the people can see their president. He's going to ride in an open limousine. Sitting right in front of him, the guy with the white cowboy hat, that's Texas Governor John Connally. Well, the facts are, as the motorcade enters something called Dealey Plaza, there will be shots ringing out. 2 of them will hit John F. Kennedy and will kill him. This is a picture of Dealey Plaza. If you look at the brown building right in the very middle of the picture, that's the Texas Book Depository. And upstairs is where Lee Harvey Oswald is supposedly shot John F. Kennedy. The road curls, and then it goes between the grassy area. You see where the 3 cars are, and that's where John F. Kennedy's motorcade is going to be, and that's where he's going to be shot. At the very upper left part, you're going to see some trees and kind of like a white pillar area. That's always called the grassy knoll because a lot of people thought there were shots from there. Behind the building, you're going to see a big parking lot, and back there is going to be a train yard. There's going to be a guy by the name of Lee Bowers who observes from the train yard basically some of the things that happened. So this is a quick picture of Dealey Plaza. If you want to go to Dallas, you can go to the Book Depository, go to the museum, go to Dealey Plaza and walk it. It's really cool. So this shows, the red line shows the route, and Kennedy's car goes right past the plaza. Now, as it goes towards the plaza up in the sniper's nest, the car is going right at Oswald. Oswald does not shoot there. He waits till the car is headed away from him. Okay? It says Zapruder's location. There was a guy named Abraham Zapruder who's going to be a local Dallas guy who's got a video camera, and he decides he wants to record the President of the United States. Well, he happens to be right there as it's happening. The Zapruder film catches some pictures. I have one of the links on your assignment to the Zapruder film. If you're squeamish, don't watch it. The Zapruder film is really rough, but it catches the moments when John F. Kennedy is assassinated. And it seems to show Kennedy's being shot. And during the assassination, you see his wife next to him in her pink hat. She is worried about the president, and she is actually, okay, the next picture shows the bullet hole, the impact of the first bullet that hits Kennedy in his back. The bullet goes through, out John F. Kennedy's neck, is going to go forward and hit Governor Connally in front of him. And then the second bullet, which is going to actually kill Kennedy, is going to hit him. And if you look at this picture, Jackie Kennedy is going to be jumping backwards. A part of John F. Kennedy's brain apparently hits the trunk back there, his skull, and Jackie, in shock, is going to grab it. You'll see a Secret Service agent on the car jumping forward. The car is going to accelerate, and John F. Kennedy will be brought out. So who shoots Kennedy? Well, supposedly Lee Harvey Oswald. He'd been a Marine. He'd been in Japan. I believe he was even on a base that had U-2s. I could be wrong. But he'd been in the military. He defects to Russia. And while in Russia, he marries a Russian girl. But eventually, he comes back to the United States. He applies and comes back to the United States. But from his time in Russia, he's going to become a kind of an ardent communist. He will be upset, like a lot of people in America, about the whole Cuba fiasco, the missile crisis, the bad pigs and stuff. And Lee Harvey Oswald is going to be excited. He does go down to the embassy, Russian embassy in Mexico. We don't know a lot about that. And somewhere in the process, he orders a mail-order rifle. If you look at the picture, Moniker Carcano rifle. And it's really weird because why did he take a picture standing himself holding the rifle? It's really hard to see, but a newspaper. Why would you do that? I don't know. But he got a job at the Texas Book Depository, and right in front of his place of business is where the President of the United States is going to drive. After the assassination, Oswald is shot. All right. The story, though, is more complicated than that. He disappears from the Texas Book Depository. Right after the shooting, he's seen on the second floor in a cafeteria getting a Coke, and the manager and a policeman in the motorcade run in the building and run up the stairs past Oswald. He doesn't seem like he's winded, and then he disappears. Later on, Oswald is found in a movie theater and is arrested. In the process, though, between leaving and going to the movie theater, Oswald supposedly shot a Dallas policeman by the name of Tippit. Now, when arrested by the authorities, he's taken to the Dallas police. He's questioned, and there's been a lot of controversy what he actually says. According to one source, they talk about he saw the picture of him in the rifle and denied it was him. Other sources, we don't really know what Oswald said. But they decide that eventually they have to transfer him, and so he's being transferred for a hearing. If you look at the picture here, the guy with the cowboy hat is the deputy who's connected to Oswald here, and the guy with the other hat you see to the back is Jack Ruby. Jack Ruby ran a strip club in Dallas, but he's from Chicago and did have connections to the mob in Chicago. He did. Well, he said he was upset at the assassination and the thought of Kennedy's young wife being in shock and everything. And so he shows up at the Dallas police headquarters, and if you look at the picture here, he pulls a pistol and shoots Oswald. Oswald is going to be taken in an ambulance to the same hospital that Kennedy was, and that's where Oswald will die. But with the death of Oswald, a lot of people start having questions. Who, what, and why? Is it really simple and straightforward as a loner with an attitude shot the President of the United States? Was there an elaborate conspiracy to eliminate the president? And if that's the case, if it wasn't Oswald, then it was an assassination, a conspiracy, and a coup. Who was responsible and why? And so that is what stoked a whole bunch of people over the years to decide what actually happened in Dealey Plaza that day. And there's a lot of different theories out there. There's a lot of people that believe a lot of stuff. So what we want to do today is have you explore some of it and try to make a good judgment. Make your own judgment. Do you go with what the officials say, or do you agree with some of the conspiracy theories? There's a lot of questions to be asked yet to this day, and that's what the next part of the assignment is. You looking into the assassination. Because remember, it's either a loner shooting the president, it's a horrible tragedy, or it was a conspiracy to eliminate a man, and if that case, then why?